Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charlie Elder. I was the head football coach at De Anza College in Cupertino, California in 1977, 78, and 79. If you have an iPhone, Cupertino is the home of Apple Computer. I taught at De Anza College for 38 years and retired as the athletic director. I am honored to be here this evening to be part of Richard Hersey's induction into the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame. I recently spoke with several of Richard's former teammates and asked them to give me a brief description of how they remembered Richard. Here are a few of the words which were given to me and remarks which were given to me. He was always prepared, always positive. He was a good friend and a good teammate. He never complained. He was humble and determined. He had pride. He was thoughtful and kind, mentally tough, physically strong, and very smart. He always did his job and helped his teammates. One of my sayings was, and I drilled it into their heads every day, do your job and then help your buddy. You do your job and then you help your buddy. Richard did that. In 1976, De Anza College was 1-9, last place. I became head coach in 1977 season. We were in the Golden Gate Conference in Northern California. There's 9 teams. The strongest conference in the state of California at the time. We only had 5 schools to draw from. Most of the other colleges in the conference had between 15 and 30 schools to draw from. I knew I only had to get 3 or 4 key players from outside our district and we could compete with them. I first wanted a quality running back. My prayers were answered when Richard Hersey came to town. I will never forget seeing Richard walk off towards me at the San Francisco International Airport. 6'2", 190 pounds, and he was wearing a white Panama hat. Very, very impressive. I took him home and my family got to know Richard. He stayed a couple days at our house, then moved into his own place. His first day at practice showed me his get-off and his vision. What a gift we had. As a freshman, he brought an average group of players up at least 2 levels. He broke the school rushing record for 1 game. He also set single-season records for the most carries, most yards, and total offense. He was all-conference in the toughest conference in the state. He was all-state, and he was all-American his freshman year. As a team, we were 6 wins, 4 losses, 2nd place in our conference, the best De Anza College had ever done. As a sophomore, we had better players, and Richard brought them up at least another level. Richard broke the single-season record for touchdowns of 15 and total points of 90. Richard also broke O.J. Simpson's single-season rushing record, his career rushing record, and total offensive yards. The team finished 9-1-1. 3 mental errors, none of which were Richard, and this team would have been 11-0 state champions and national champions. As it was, the team finished the league at 3rd. It finished the league as league champions. That team was 3rd in the state and 5th in the nation. Enough of that. Okay, now a couple of stories about Richard. We only had a few rules on our team, one of which was never be late. Well, Richard was sick one day, early in his freshman year, and he didn't call anyone. No cell phones those days, and he didn't have a phone in his apartment. I had my rules, so after practice the next day, I called the team together and told them Richard had a penalty to serve. The penalty was 2 minutes on the sled. That doesn't mean much to you, as you probably don't even know what a sled is. It's left shoulder forearm, right shoulder forearm, shivers to the sled. You can't touch the ground, and it has to be a continuous rhythmic motion. So the sled was a Crowther sled. 5 blocking dummies going with the spring behind them. Richard had to get down to 3-point stance, and he had to deliver a blow with his right shoulder, then his left shoulder, his right, and it had to be rhythmic. So it had to go boom, 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 for 2 minutes. It's a killer. I have seen players lose their lunch after 2 minutes. Well, I counted 1 minute, a minute and a half, he was going strong. 10, 9, 8, 1 time, Richard collapsed to the ground. Done. Then an amazing thing happened. The whole team rushed to surround Richard, 60 players. They picked him up, helped him to the locker room. I had no idea what would happen after that. I was worried Richard might quit and go home. My worst nightmare. But quite the opposite happened. I have never seen a team come together so quickly. It was amazing what took place. The team bonded in a 2-minute penalty drill. Talk about grit. There it was. Right there, Richard became their leader and continued to lead for his entire career at De Anza College. Another fond memory of mine is Richard's freshman year. We were playing Chabot. Chabot College, we had never beaten. Richard carried the ball 10 times in a row, and he went off tackle for about an 8-yard gain and was tackled on the 10-yard line and went down, bang. He was flat on his face and didn't move. I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong? I rushed down to the field. Our trainer was right behind me. I got to Richard, he's flat out down. I leaned over and put my hands on his shoulder and asked him, what's wrong, Richard? He didn't respond. So again, I shook his shoulder. What's wrong, Richard? He turned his head to the side. He said, I'm tired, Coach. Well, I jumped up smiling, ran back to the sidelines. Obi brought him back for 1 play rest. He went back and scored the winning touchdown. And we beat Chabot for the first time. I've always been so proud to have coached Richard. Richard asked me to be his presenter at the Elgin Sports Hall of Fame Award after 40 years is extremely humbling and very special to me. I went to my archives and I made Richard a scrapbook from newspaper articles that I'd saved and had on hand. I had no problem putting together his history and his performance at De Anza College. There's 94 pages in here. Every one has his name on it. He was only at De Anza for a year and a half, 2 seasons. He made a mark, a huge mark. All his records are still there at the top. He's at the top. Thank you, Richard. I love coaching you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. First of all, I would like to thank God for giving me the talent and ability to be able to play the game that I love so much. I realize that I haven't always kept him first in my life, but he has always kept me, and that is truly a blessing. I would like to thank the Elgin Hall of Fame Committee tonight for recognizing my sports accomplishments. It is an honor to be here, and it is a privilege, and I can only express gratitude. I would like to thank two coaches who is not here tonight. One is Coach Stevens, and the other person is Richard Felicetti, the principal of Elgin High. I want to thank them for actually saving my life and giving me my football career back. And 1975 was the worst year of my life. I had lost my mother in August, and the following month, in September, I lost everything else. There was a protest that turned ugly, and there was suspension. And so I drew a suspension for 4 years, causing me to lose my junior year of school and a full year of football. But those two men came and spoke for me and allowed me to return my senior year. That senior year was a great year for us. We went on, we went to the playoffs, and we eventually won this playoffs that went on for that great year. So I thank them for that. At the same time, that year, I had received many scholarships, but I couldn't accept not one of them for what had happened in 1975. And so I was wondering what I was going to do. And that's when Coach Elder called me from California. And he convinced me to come out there and go to school. And I did. So I want to thank him tonight for believing in me when no one else did and giving me a chance to play the game that I love. Coach Elder also took on the responsibility of growing me up, because when he got me in 1977, I was a young and immature kid, and he taught me about growing up. So I want to thank him for being a mentor to me and also for a great coach. Also, I would like to thank the other Hall of Fame inductees who are here tonight. Congrats to you. I want to thank you for all your accomplishments. I'd like to thank my extended family, my teammates, who I played with over the course of the years. I'd like to thank my family who is here tonight, who have supported me through the good and through the bad. And I want to thank you tonight for being here for me when I was at my worst and when I was at my best. So thanks to my family. I also would like to mention tonight my brother, who is not here, David, who is in Alabama, who is the reason that I have my ability, because he always pushed me. And by all rights, he should be here tonight too. So I want to thank you and thank the Hall of Fame Committee for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. Thank you.